Could dragons have actually existed? 5 shocking pieces of evidence. Imagine you lived in ancient times. One day, you set out for a desolate hill and first felt a shadow, then the flapping of wings. When you looked up, a massive creature stared at you with red eyes as if it were about to devour you. What's more, it could breathe fire if it wanted to. How would you feel? Do you think dragons really existed? According to ancient texts, yes. From China to South America, from Africa to Rome, everyone talks about the same creature. According to famous medieval knight stories, treasure could also be found in the caves where these giant creatures hid, of course. I'm not sure if anyone ever found it. What made them different from dinosaurs? I'll tell you. Even though one species went extinct millions of years ago, the other has always been part of our culture. Or did they really exist? For example, do any stories mention dinosaurs? But get ready, because today I'm going to show you 5 shocking pieces of evidence that dragons could be real. And I have a surprise at the end. Spoiler alert, they can even appear in modern times. Let's get started. Let's make our first stop, Mesopotamia. 4,000 years ago, a scribe wrote a strange word on a clay tablet. Mushushu. This is the oldest word for dragon written in Akkadian. It means terrible serpent or ferocious serpent. The Sumerians weren't idle either. They were inspired by this and created their own dragon figures, naming them Ushum Gal. Gal means great and Ushum means serpent. So it means great serpent. Even if they didn't give it the same name during the same period, people in China, South America, Africa, Rome, everywhere talked about giant scaled flying animals. And the strange thing is that these were societies that never communicated with each other, but they are not the same. How could this be? Some say they found dinosaur fossils and called them dragons. Okay, that makes sense. But there's a problem. Dinosaurs went extinct 66 million years ago. Modern humans have only been around for the last 300,000 years, so we didn't live alongside dinosaurs. Did we not? Take a look at these pottery shards. Oh, what about these wall paintings? Anyway, that's a topic for another video. Actually, if I had asked you what comes to mind when you hear the word dragon before the Hollywood era, you would probably have come up with different designs. In fact, the Mushushu from Mesopotamia doesn't resemble Hollywood's dragon figure. It doesn't even have wings. Also, Chinese dragons are wiser, while European dragons are more destructive. In fact, the Sumerian dragon symbolizes chaos, while the Akkadian dragon is protective. In other words, no culture could do without dragons. These creatures are called proto-draconic creatures or pre-dragon figures. So we are still trying to classify the different types of snakes that everyone has seen. Let's see what else we will find. So what exactly did these ancient people see? Perhaps there really were giant reptiles similar to the Komodo dragon back then. After all, 4,000 years ago, Mesopotamia's climate had wetter and milder winters. Maybe these weren't dinosaurs, but distant relatives of today's creatures. Anyway, I wouldn't want to live in that era. Now let's go to North America. There are rock paintings in Canada and the US. The Anasazi tribe drew these 2,000 to 4,000 years ago. And guess what's in these paintings? A UFO. No, that's a different mystery. I'm talking about giant winged reptiles. One day you went on a nature walk with your friends in the San Rafael Swell and came across this interesting petroglyph. Standing before you is a picture of a full-fledged dragon with a long head, huge wings, and clawed feet. Wow, are you imagining things? So did the people who made these drawings imagine it? Or did they really see something a dragon? We're going 2,000 kilometers east from the San Rafael Swell to the Mississippi River. In 1673, an explorer named Jacques Marquette saw a strange creature carved into a limestone rock on the banks of the Mississippi River. He described it as follows.
A creature as big as a calf. It has antlers like a deer, red eyes, a beard like a tiger, a face resembling a human face, a body covered in scales, and a tail so long that it wraps around its entire body. Painted in green, red, and black colors.
Marquette must have been influenced by what he saw, so he added the following as well.
These drawings are so well done that even the best painters in France would have a hard time reaching these rocks and drawing them.
So the man is really impressed. He's implying that professional dragon observers drew these pictures. Everything's fine and dandy, but is fire breathing physiologically possible? I mean, doesn't the mouth of a fire-breathing creature get burned? Good question, because there are no animals in nature that spit fire from their mouths. But wait a minute. The Bombardier Beetle. This little bug can squirt a boiling liquid at 100 degrees Celsius from its cute little rear end. And of course, it's not so cute for those around it. How does it do it? Think of it like a liquid-fueled rocket. It keeps two different chemicals in two separate chambers in its body, hydroquinone and hydrogen peroxide. When it mixes these two together, boom! It's like an explosion. 1/5 of the mixture instantly vaporizes, the temperature rises to 100 degrees, and pressure builds up. Then the insect squirts this boiling liquid at its target. What's more, it can do this 20 to 30 times in a row. But doesn't the insect's rear end burn? No, it doesn't. Because the reaction chamber where the reaction takes place is covered with a thick, hard, heat-resistant layer of chitin. But now we have a small problem. Dragons breathe fire from their mouths, not their rear ends. Let's imagine a dragon producing methane gas and expelling it from its mouth. Its teeth also create sparks when they strike each other like flint. The methane gas burns, but so does the dragon's mouth. Anyway, it's not a good design.
If you want to breathe fire, work with me. I can make you my PR consultant.
I don't need you. I burn whatever I want.
Where do you get the fire from?
From my rear end, of course.
What a ridiculous evolution.
Does your mouth burn when you breathe?
No, it doesn't.
Because you're a figment of the imagination. You can't be real. Nature weeds out stupid designs.
So let's look at a Japanese dragon. The Shachihoko is a dragon that shoots fire from its armpits, similar to a carp. This is even stranger. Developing such a mechanism would be very costly in evolutionary terms. Nature generally prefers simple solutions. But perhaps nature solved this problem using a method we don't know about and once raised dragons into our skies. Of course, we can't know that. Yes, this skull is real. 100% real. It's not artificial intelligence or Photoshop. Let's get to the story. In 2004, 3 amateur paleontologists in South Dakota found a strange skull. None of the 3 scientists could identify which animal the skull belonged to. The skull was given to a children's museum and sat there gathering dust for 2 years. Experts said this doesn't resemble any known species. But the children visiting the museum knew exactly which creature the skull belonged to. Bingo! This skull belonged to the Harry Potter dragon. They even give it a name, Dracarys Hogwartsia, that is the Harry Potter dragon, because the skull looks exactly like a dragon. But the strangest part is this, it's a baby animal, and judging by the size of the skull, this creature was at least 3 meters long, so as an adult, it might have been enormous. Great, we finally found a dragon candidate worthy of legends. In 2017, they found a complete skeleton belonging to a similar skull in China. And in 2021, a fossil of a flying creature with a 7-meter wingspan, a 1-meter long head, and 40 teeth was discovered in Australia. The name of these creatures, Anhanguera. They were a type of pterosaur and lived exactly 112 million years ago. I read somewhere that the bone structure of flying animals is porous. This allows them to be super light for flying, but this is not good for our dragon search. Because porous bones are fragile, they are harder to fossilize. So we can't say dragons never existed just because we can't find dragon fossils. Maybe the bones of our potential dragon candidates were too light to turn into fossils. Now let's get to the strangest piece of evidence. In 2014, a gold prospector named John Reeves found a mammoth tooth in Alaska. While cleaning the tooth, he saw something strange inside it. A blue feather. Yes, a bird feather. But here's the problem, there were no blue-feathered birds in Alaska during the Ice Age. If you don't believe me, watch Ice Age and see for yourself. So how did this feather get inside the mammoth tooth? Was this feather inside when the mammoth tooth formed? John Reeves says, I've been doing this for years. I've found thousands of fossils, but I've never seen anything like this. Allegedly, the feather is so small that it cannot be carbon dated, because it could turn to dust during the test. But here's a clue. Maybe dragons were feathered creatures, just like some dinosaurs. Although this part seems a bit silly to me because finding a blue feather doesn't mean a dragon was found. Anyway, let's be honest. Dragons aren't real. At least we haven't encountered any that breathe fire like in mythology. There are no fossils either. We can find 150-million-year-old dinosaur bones and even discover what their last meal was from their feces. But there are no dragon fossils, nor is there any dragon poop. But let's not forget this. Completely isolated societies talk about similar creatures. There are dragons in rock paintings. There are creatures in nature that breathe fire. Pore-filled bones don't turn into fossils. There is a mysterious blue feather in Alaska. So could dragons have really existed? If they did exist, they were probably not like those in mythology. They would have been much smaller and much less impressive than you imagine. Perhaps they were just large reptiles. Maybe they were just a bit bigger than a Komodo dragon, and people used their imagination to turn them into giant monsters. Or maybe there really were giant winged creatures, and we just haven't found their fossils yet. So why is the dragon figure so important in our culture? The answer is fear. Yes, humans didn't live in residences as they evolved. Primates living in close contact with nature could come face to face with giant reptiles while roaming the forest. Of course, you can guess that what followed was not very pleasant. Humans who evolved with the constant fear of encountering a larger reptile now watch Smaug while eating popcorn in movie theaters, not in nature. Okay, I won't talk about the terrifying sea dragon Leviathan from ancient Canaanite mythology or the Hydra that Hercules killed. While researching, I came across a cute creature, but not as you know it. This cute creature living in tropical waters is called Glaucus atlanticus. Its body is blue and long. It has 2 pairs of legs. Its front legs resemble wings. It has tentacles next to its mouth to catch its prey. It can hide underwater for hours. The only problem, this terrifying monster is only 40 millimeters long. Yes, we're talking about a sip of sea snail. But think about it, if this creature were hundreds of times larger, then it would be like the dragons in mythology. As you can see, the existence of dragons is not entirely impossible. They would just be much smaller and much less impressive than they are in mythology. Perhaps one day, genetic science will advance enough that we can mix the genes of an armadillo lizard, a Draco lizard, and a Bombardier Beetle to create a dragon-like animal. If we even mix in a little Glaucus atlanticus gene, we'll get a full-fledged dragon. Until then, dragons will remain a fantastical manifestation of humanity's collective fears dating back to ancient times. And that's probably a good thing. If dragons were like the ones in Game of Thrones, you wouldn't be watching this video right now. Look, what is a dragon after all? It's actually a reflection of our deepest fears, humanity's deepest fears. It exists in the East and in the West. Sometimes it means power, sometimes chaos, sometimes wisdom, but it's always there, always part of our culture. And most importantly, every time humans win. Anyway, we didn't find any dragons today either.
Could the Loch Ness Monster be a dragon?
I don't think so. Now, something's bothering me. Why weren't there any dragons in Jurassic Park? To be honest, the scriptwriters didn't believe in the existence of dragons either. Do you believe in the dragons from medieval knight stories? Do you think St. George really killed a dragon? If you ask me, even though no fossils have been found, I say, maybe they existed because it's very strange that all cultures talk about the same creature. Maybe a paleontologist will comment and correct me if I'm wrong. Keep following me, because I'll surprise you again in future videos.